G'day folks, just thought I'd show you around my campsite before I pack it up. So as you can see there, that's my swag and swag cover. The canvas bit is a Raise Outdoors single person Wanderer swag, which is made of 100% non-ripstop canvas. It used to have metal rings and tie-outs, and poly webbing straps and all that sort of stuff. I've since what I call vintageized it by stripping off all the unnecessary stuff, chucking in some eyelets, tying on some leather ties, and replacing the poly webbing straps with leather. And in this case the leather is pretty much made from 2 good leather belts and a rifle sling. Okay, so let's have a look at the bedding itself. Okay, my bedding for this trip was a wool blanket and a sleeping bag liner, and I also have a spare wool blanket over there. Now this bedding itself is a 1960s vintage Australian Army sleep system. Before they issued sleeping bags, they issued these, which consisted of a light wool blanket, which everyone calls a horse blanket, and a sleeping bag inner, and they clip together. So it's a pretty workable system. It's not the warmest thing in the world. If I was going into an area where it was cold, I'd either take my World War II down sleeping bag, or I'd probably see if I can get another wool blanket for this one. Swag, horse blanket, and silk. It's not actually silk, it's actually some sort of polyester. Very, very early polyester actually. This particular liner here is not the bright green that you usually see, it's sort of a brown. And I have a mosquito net of the same vintage, which was made in 1962. So we could safely assume this was probably made around the same time. Now the horse blanket itself, according to the label, is 1968. So yeah, pretty old. And something of similar vintage is that, check it out. Q for Qantas. This is an old Qantas in-flight blanket. 100% pure new wool. Please do not remove from aircraft. Now for some reason my grandfather did remove this from the aircraft. Not sure why, but he must have had a good reason. And I've since inherited it. And this is my backup blanket. Now looking under the swag, it's always good practice to use a ground sheet. And in this case, I'm using a World War II jungle ground sheet. Oop, off you go, Ant. Here you go, buddy. Good boy. Okay, and this ground sheet is miles ahead of its time. It weighs about 250 grams, which is really, really good. I bought it brand new. Someone had a crate of these that they were selling on eBay. It's made from very, very fine Japara, which has been coated with polyurethane, which is what I believe to be one of the earliest uses of a PU coating. It's really good. It's got tie-outs. It has grommet holes for tying things together. Yeah, it's just awesome. Very, very cool bit of gear. I think it cost me about 20 bucks when I got it. Yeah, so it was pretty cheap, but I'm pretty sure you can't find them anymore. I think the bloke sold his crate and they're all gone. Just like the old timers, when I bring the swag, I sometimes bring a tent. Now that's a Japara tent, Paddy Palin Japara tent, known as a Glen wall tent, 2-person, vintage. Works really well. If it had rained last night, I would have been in the swag under the tent. Although having said that, the actual canvas swag cover itself here is completely set up to be used as a hoochie, or at least as a bit of a lean-to, keep some of the rain off. Now, I didn't need this last night. This is a Dryzerbone, well, generic name Dryzerbone. This one's actually made by Burke and Wills. It's a Bushman's pattern oilskin coat. Now it's lined with cotton, which means in the mornings, cold mornings, it's actually pretty warm. And as you can see, there's all the other gear there. Satchel, bush belt with an American canteen on it. A World War I Australian water bottle. Quart pot. Hat. Tucker bag under the hat. Bit of scrim netting. A dilly bag. And my Swiss Army candle.